Hello and welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are doing well. So this morning I was coming back from the gym to the news and found out that a deaf teenager who is 19 years old lost his cochlear implant because a deputy tased him. So I wanted to read about it and react to it. This isn't really a huge story. I've only found 2 articles on it and they seem to be fairly short, but without further ado. But if you have not yet, be sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos like this about deaf awareness, disability awareness, other lifestyle things. And if you're one of those people that like to support creators and their work, I do have a Patreon page, so if you would like to pledge, feel free to do so. Always helps me out, and I really appreciate it. So here is one article that's posted on Facebook from CBS 42. Teen loses cochlear implant after being tased. You know what my favorite thing about news articles about deaf people is? About half the time they don't come captioned. You know, when they post the videos that go along with it, half the time it's not captioned. So this happened in Lafayette, Tennessee. A deaf teenager tased by a sheriff's deputy because he couldn't hear the officer's command to stop. It's missing like a word. A deaf teenager was tased by a sheriff's deputy. You need an extra word in there. It sounds like an incomplete sentence. Anyways, that's not the point. To make matters worse, okay, who wrote this? Who edited this? To make matters worse, when he fell, his expensive cochlear implant was lost. The teen was released when they realized there had been a mistake. The young Campbell County man wears a cochlear implant. It's a complex electronic device that can help to provide a sense of sound to a person who is profoundly deaf or severely hard of hearing. I do like that they seem to be doing really well with explaining what it is that it can help. It doesn't necessarily make it a cure or anything like that. I can appreciate that. Thank you. His device wasn't working 11 days ago, following an unfortunate incident in which the young man couldn't communicate with sheriff's deputies who were responding to an emergency call in the Follett. That's not good. That's never good. 19-year-old Brett Elkins is deaf and he is a graduate of the Tennessee School for the Deaf. His mother showed us where Brett's cochlear implant was located. The surgical scar is behind his right ear, about the size of a quarter. But you don't see the device. That's because it was lost when Elkins was tased and fell to the ground incapacitated on October 11. Elkins had gone to a friend's house to use their phone to have his mother pick him up. As he was leaving the house, he didn't know that Campbell County's deputies had been called there for a domestic dispute between Brett's friends. You don't have a cell phone? Why is he using their phone? Does he not have a cell phone? So I'm gonna get this kid a cell phone. Jamie Wilhoit, Elkins' mother, saying he was walking, he felt a shock, his arms fell beside him, and he fell over. He assumed it was his cochlear that it had malfunctioned. That was the first thing he thought. He was scared and crying. His cochlear implant had died. The batteries weren't working. It wasn't charged. I feel like my friend Amanda, who has a cochlear implant, talked about a similar feeling in her book. I'm just trying to imagine. I mean, I've never been tased, so I wonder if there's a difference in feeling. So like if a hearing person who obviously does not have a cochlear implant, if they were tased, would it be less so than if somebody who is deaf and had a cochlear implant? Would it be worse for the latter? Because you know when you go through TSA at the airport and you have a cochlear implant, you have to go somewhere else or something to, you know, get patted down or whatever, I think, because you can't go through the x-rays. At least that's what the sign that I always see outside the machine says. Am I just talking out of my behind here? I have no idea. I'm asking. I'm wanting to learn. I don't know how this works. Elkins' implant was new. It came from TennCare. He said somehow it fell off after being tased. The fact that it's also brand new has to really, really hurt. I mean, those things are expensive. And even if you had it for a while, that would still hurt. But when something is brand new, oh gosh. And if he just got it and it's going to take him a while to go through speech therapy or whatever it is that you have to go through to get used to it and learn how to use it, now you pretty much have to go through the whole process all over again, I think. He and his mother went back to look for it, but it hasn't been found. We received a copy of the sheriff's report and deputies didn't know Brett was deaf when he failed to respond to their commands. Well, if somebody failed to respond to your commands, what do you think that possibly might mean? How did it not get into anyone's head when somebody isn't responding? Maybe they couldn't hear me. It states he was released once determined he had nothing to do with the domestic disturbance. Deputies also called an ambulance to check him out. However, there was no reference to the implant. Connie Hall, Elkin's grandmother, is saying, he got the cochlear 3 years ago. It was $8,000. They don't just hand those out left and right. Brett showed us his back where several prongs from a taser gun left welts after suffering a 5-second shock. Ouch. His mother telling us Elkins would like an apology and for them to replace his cochlear implant. A ranking officer from the Campbell County Sheriff's Office called Elkins' mother and said, Sheriff Goins has talked to with our... Who is writing this? What is this writing? What is this writing? Is it just me or does this not make much sense? Or it just sounds wrong. A ranking officer from the Campbell County Sheriff's Office called Elkins' mother and said Sheriff Goins has talked to with our insurance provider and they are willing to pay for Brett's implant. Yeah, you better. Elkins and his mother were overwhelmed. Wow, oh my god. Oh, they cared. They cared. It will take a few weeks before Elkins fitted with a new cochlear device. Sheriff Robbie Goins telling us that domestic violence calls are the most danger his deputies face, and they have to make a split-second judgment calls with the information they have during the situation. He also said his deputies acted reasonably under the circumstances when they first confronted Elkins. Sheriff Goins is pleased to learn that Elkins and his family are happy with the resolution. Okay, if the boy was coming at them with the gun, with a knife, okay, I could get that because he's actually coming towards you armed with the intent of attempting to hurt you. But if the guy is walking away, calmly might I add, he wasn't running off like he thought he was in trouble or trying to run from the cops. He was just walking home, minding his own business. And you tased him because you thought your life was in danger. Why has nobody learned from past instances when cops would shoot, tase, whatever, deaf people, and then it made it breaking news, national news, and then So a few years ago, I made a whole video just about police brutality against deaf people, and I'll link it in a card or down below, or both. And this has to stop happening. Like, okay, I read your point about needing to make decisions when you think that your life is in danger. So if somebody were coming at me, little civilian me, yeah, I would probably be doing something because I'm scared that somebody's going to try to kill me. But when a 19-year-old kid is just minding his own business, walking away in a calm manner, just like if he was walking out of the grocery store to get to his car, how do you think that your life is in danger? How did you need to make a split-second decision? How many times do people have to say, if somebody isn't responding to you, they probably are not hearing you until somebody gets it? You know, every once in a while, especially since the murder of Daniel Harris here in Charlotte, people would bring up police training and how deaf people were getting involved in the whole police training thing, but I'm wondering, yeah, people say police need training, let's get training, and then police do training, but how many people are actually leaving the training and keeping that in their heads? I 100% agree that police need training when confronting people who are deaf. And yeah, of course, you're not going to know if somebody's deaf just by looking at them, unless you're wearing a Do I Look Deaf Now t-shirt. But why is it now in this day and age that people are just not thinking, wait, this person must not be able to hear me? I feel like people think this more when they're just having regular casual conversations with their parents, with family members, with friends. But then when it comes to a cop versus deaf person, like, all of that just flies out the window. I'm very glad that this kid wasn't hurt other than the pain that he got from the tase. I'm glad that they were able to get a replacement for the cochlear implant because, hell yes, they definitely should have paid for a new one. And I don't know if this kid has to pay extra to get it refitted and if he has to go through and get more speech therapy or whatever it is after you get a cochlear implant. If they have to do all that all over again and pay more for it, I hope they cover that. Police departments, please do better. Please. Alright, so that's my take on the situation. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. If you would like to help translate this video, I'll have a translation link down below in the description box. Always super helpful. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Give it a thumbs up, share the video all over your social media, and I will see you later.